Good evening. Today's daf, we're holding now Bava Kamah. We're holding daf Vav Amud Aleph, the top line at Tzad Shava Shebehen. These shiurim and all the shiurim we have in the morning, at night, and we should have in mind a very dear member which we lost last week. All the shiurim are dedicated for Yehuda Leib ben Yibad L'chaim Tevim Yitzchak. This is Leib's Kabbalah. So please have in mind when you're learning this shiur to do something. Make the world a better place. That's what Leib was all about. He was making the world to be meisav air, to make the world a better place. Now, I also want to thank every single night. We have 3 young boys that come every night to set up the shiur. So and some of them come in the morning. This is Shaiki Boaz, Yosef, and my son Menachem Greenwald. So a big yeshikayach to them, and yeshikayach for everybody who shows up to the shiur. It's a big thing. Okay. All right. Let's hit the road. Okay, we're holding that Vav Amud Aleph. Hatzad Shava Shebehen. So the Mishnah, if you remember, Daf Beis Amud Beis, the Mishnah said Hatzad Shava Shebehen. The common denominator between all the Arba Ovis Nezikin is number 1, Shedarkon Lahazik, that all of them, the nature of all these, they damage. And number 2, Ushmirasan Alecha, that all of them is the owner is responsible to guard that object. So let's say the Sher Bir Mavi Vehever. And when the mazik damages, or I should say when any of these 4 damage, so the mazik, the owner has to pay b'mei tava'aretz. That's what the Mishnah said. These 3 things. So now the Mishnah says, when you say, just expression, you say, the common denominator between all these 4 is A, B, and C. So just from that expression, why do you have to say that? Like, Elamai, it must be lasuye mai. It must mean it has to include something that the Mishnah didn't mention. So Rabbi. So now we're going to have a few different ways of. We're going to have, I think, 3 or 4 different ways of what the Mishnah is going to is including by saying Atzad Shava Shebehen. So the first one we have is Rabbi. Rabbi says lasuye. This will come to include a case of Avnei Sakinim Masoy Shenicha B'Reish Gagay, which we have this case already. When a person put either his stone or his knife or his peckle, he put it at the head, let's say the top of a roof. B'Reish Gag, he put his knife, or he put his peckle, he put a stone, he put it on top of his building. And what happened? V'naflu b'ruach mitzuya, a normal wind came and blew this item away from the roof, and v'hiziku, and now it damaged. So the halacha is that the person who placed it over there is chayiv to pay for the damage. Now, the Gemara explains, hey chidami, what exactly happened over here? You're saying we're adding a case of avnei sakinim aso, that you put b'reish gagay, and then it flew baruch mitzuya. That's what it's including. So the Gemara says, hey chidami, what's the case? If it fell, if it damaged, if the knife or the stone damaged somebody while it was, meaning it was a direct, let's say you're walking down, you're walking down Eastern Parkway, and now a stone comes and knocks a guy directly from the wind comes, knocks a stone, knocks the guy in the head, and he gets hurt. So, that's why we have scaffoldings, right, on the corner. So if it damaged, a direct damage, so then why are you saying Hatzad Shava Shebehen Hainu Eish? This is mamish, a case of Eish. Why? Because Maishna Eish. What does Eish mean? When we say Asher Abora Mav Vehever, what is the av of Eish? Eish is the koyach acher mu'urava. You have fire, and now wind came and blew that fire to wherever it went and made damage. So l'cheda, that's the case of Eish. And by Eish, your money damaged. It's on you to make sure your fire doesn't damage. So Haninami here also koyach acher mu'urav. When this stone falls down from the building and knocks the guy in the head, so that's a direct cause that came from a ruach, which is mamish similar to Eish. So why do I need to have a tzad shava? This is mamish similar to Eish. And so now the Gemara says, Ve'ela, rather Abaya says, that when he said Shava Shebehen, and you're adding this case, is not before it landed, but rather Basar Denaichi. after it landed from the head of the roof, from the top of the roof, and then it landed in Rosh Hashanah, and then either a shur or a chamor got damaged, so that will be a part of our Mishnah that the Baal Hasher, the Baal of the person who put the takala over there, he will be chayiv. So the Gemara asks.
He didn't put it in the middle of the street. He put it up somewhere.
Yeah, he put it up over there. It landed. It landed, and then some guy's shur chamar came and got hurt, so he's going to be chayiv. So the Gemara says, one second. If we're talking about that the owner was mafkir the let's say the stone. So now, Bein the Rav, whether according to the opinion of Rav, who says Nav Chavches Amid Beis, Rav says over there that when somebody's not mafkir, his item it has the din of a shur, which means he'll be chayiv. If he's not mafkir his item and it damages, it will be chayiv for sure. Now, Ubein Shmuel, and Shmuel holds when the balabas does not mafkir it, it has a din of a beir when they're not mafkir. So now the question is, if they're mafkir, so bein l'Rav, bein l'Shmuel, doesn't matter how you learn Daf Chav Chesam and Beis, whether according to Rav it's shade or Shmuel holds like it's beir. When you are mafkir it, when one is mafkir, hainu, that will for sure be a tulda of beir. That will be a tulda of beir. Now, why? Because umayshna bor. Why are you chai by bor? Shekain tchilasa siyas l'nezek. A bor, when it was made, it's there to damage people. And weiter, a person is chayiv and he has to guard it. So haninami here also in this case, when you place the stone on top of the building, tchilas asiyasan. When you put it over there, the guy who's putting it over there, he should know that it could damage somebody. So it's tchilas asiyas and lenesik. And so that's if you're talking about that if he was mafkir. If he was mafkir, then it should be a tulda of beir. Tulda of beir, it's for sure chayiv. So what's the chiddush? What do I need to have a tzad hashava? Ella, rather, the le'afkirino must be that the guy was not mafkir the stone. So now the question is the Shmuel the Omar. So the question will be, according to Shmuel says, that kulam, that every single time you put a takala, even if you were not mafkir, it's mi beirila madnu that we learn from ber, that a person will be chayiv. So the chayda hainu ber, this is mamish the case of ber. So if you made a hefker, there should be a tool of the ber. If you did not make it hefker, it's mamish ber. So if it's mamish ber, what do you need to have? You saying that's how the shavash behind this and that. Just say clearly, it's either a tool of the ber or ber mamish. Right. So what exactly? What does it mean la'asuya in this case? Like, however you look at it, I don't really need to asuya in this case. Exactly. So the Maharsha says like this: La'olam really da'afkirina. Really, the person was mafkir his stone beforehand. Now, so the cheda. So now v'leidam u'leber. However, this is not similar to a ber. Why? Because malaber shekein ein koyach acham urabay. Ber has a special chumrah that you don't have another koyach, which is helping the bur damage. Tamer bahani, are you going to say in these cases, shekoyach acham uruv behen? In the case of, let's say, when the stone fell down from the building and hit the guy in the head, that was another ruach that came and helped or caused the damage. So the Gemara will say, eish techiach. Now, I'll bring a raya from eish, that when you have another koyach which is mu'urav, nevertheless you're going to be chayiv. So then you're going to say, mala eshkin derech darki leilach lahazik. Fire goes, it travels, and it damages. So, ber techiach, ber will tell you that it's not the derech of ber to travel, and nevertheless a person's chayiv. And then what's going to happen is you're going to go in and merry-go-round circles, v'chazar adin. You're going to go in circles and circles and circles. So therefore you have to say, you know what the tzad hashava is? The tzad hashava is number one, shedarki lahazik, ushmiras and alecha, and umamaynecha alecha. And therefore, the derech memela, when your stone or your knife or your pekel is on the Reish Hagag and it falls b'ruach mitzuya and it damages somebody after landing in Rishus Harabim, a person is chayev. So too, also in these cases, a person will be chayev.
So you have to explicitly say exactly what it is.
Right, because you're going to go right in the circles. Okay, this mahalach. So we have, like I said, we have a few different mahalachs over here. That's abaya. So the Gemara it's going to go like repeat itself a lot now. Now then you have Rava. Rava Omar. Rava says no. Rava la asuye bird hamizgalgal beragli adam uberagli behema. Rava is going to argue with Abaya, classic, and he says that when it says la asuye is talking about a case of, for example, a person put a stone or a Rishus Harabim, and then a adam or a behema came and kicked that stone with his feet to another place, and then in that place the shade or chamor got damaged. That's what that the person is chayav. The person who the guy this here's your stone, he places it in a Rishus Harabim. The guy comes and kicks it and it lands 20 feet over here, and the shade or chamor come get hurt. The person who put the stone here is going to be chayav. Now the Gemara says
It's the same thing, he fell from the roof. He fell from the roof and he also chayav, even though it went further.
No, he didn't. He fell from the roof. There's a difference. That was the other case.
no. That's a bias. Rava tells you. Yeah. Rava says no. The question is.
Let's say something totally different.
Okay. Hey, say my yeah. It's,
Different example.
okay. It says the Gemara says hey chidami again. Idaf could you know if the guy put the Evan and he was mafker the Evan the stone so bein the Rav. Sai according to Rav who holds that when you're not mafker it has the din of a shred. Ubein the Shmuel and Sai according to Shmuel who holds that when you're not mafker it has the din of bird. Hai nu bird, this will be a tool of bird. Why? Because mashna bird by bird. Why you chayev shekain mitchila sasi yosei lenezek. It's lechatchila made the damage. Ushmiras and alecha haninami. So too in the case of bird hamizgalgal tchila sasi yoson lenezek. Lechatchila when you place the stone in the Rishus Harabim, it could damage people. And ushmiras and alecha. So therefore, you don't really need to have a tzad hashava. Ella, rather the leafkedino. Rather, we're talking about a case that the person was not mafked the stone. So the question is the Shmuel the Omar. So now the question is according to Shmuel who says Kulam ibayr lamadu. According to Shmuel who says that we learn it all from. So that again, according to Shmuel who holds that all takalas, even if you're not mafked, you learn it from bird. Hainu bird. So therefore, I don't need to have right there. According on Rava, the same question is I don't need to have a tzad hashava to tell me straight out from bird. So my answer is like this: really, we're talking about in this case. Rava will tell you that you're mafker the Evan. So if you're mafker the Evan, why can I not? What's the problem? So it says v'leidami lebir. However, it's not similar to bur. Why? Because malabush came maisav garmulei. By the bur, when one digs a bur and uncovers the bur with his hands, he causes the damage. Tamer bahani, you're going to say in the case of beit hamizgalgal shem maisav garmulei. It's not in the place that you placed the stone. It didn't damage anybody. It's when it was kicked by a person or a behema that causes the damage. So the Gemara says shar yichiach, the maisa bailim of the shir does not cause. The owner's action did not cause the share to damage, nevertheless he's chayiv. So mala shir shekin dakil elech lahazik. Even you can't say that. And then right, you're going to go in a merry-go-round chazar adin, later yigzekri zeh. Each one will have a chumrah, and therefore you have to have the tzad hashava. Okay, that's phase 2. So I have Abaya, I have Rava, and now I have a third opinion. Rav Ada bar Abba is going to explain. Is very different. Rav Ada bar Abba Amar la suya hadatanya. It comes to include what we learned in a brisa. Kol elo she'amru. All these halachas that the Chachamim said when a person places the stuff, let's say in Rishus, the Chachamim said that certain items that a person places in Rishus Harabim, the halacha is that they're pater. For example, poiskin bivoy sehen. If a person, let's say, goes and opens up his gutter pipe or his pipes to the Rishus Harabim. Let's say he wants to drain his pipes, so he drains it in the Rishus Harabim. Or v'garfim erisin, or let's say he places his garbage, he pours his garbage in the Rishus Harabim. In Yimeisachama, by a summer day, and then Rishus, you don't have Rishus. Why? Because the street is clean and you're ruining it. Yimeisachama in the winter days, yesh lem Rishus, you have Rishus. Afabi, now. Afapi should be Rishus, even though you get Rishus from Beis Din, im hezeko. If you damage a shur nechamor, which is walking in a Rishus Harabim in the winter, chayavim l'shalom, you're chayav to pay. And this is what we learn from the case of the tzad hashava. From the tzad hashava, this is what the Mishnah is including. So the Gemara asks, what is this case talking about? If the water damaged the person directly before it actually landed on the ground, then it comes from the koyach of the person. So then, if it comes from the koyach of the person, this is mamish adam amazik. Like we said, according to Rav, Sheber Mave, right? We said Mave is adam amazik. He poured it directly on him. Ella rather, basar denayich, after the water landed. So hechidami idaf, if he was mafkir the water, ben Rabbi ben Shmuel, this is the hainu, this is mamish told of beit. Umayshna bar, why again? Tchilas nasiyos lenezik v'mein cheshmeros alecha haninami. Tchilas nasiyos lenezik v'mein cheshmeros alecha. Ella rather left, so the same question is, Shmuel the Amar kulam beit lamadno hainu beit. So why do we need to have the tzad hashava even in this case? So the Gemara says, "La'ila daf really he was mafkir the water." Like Dami the beit. Why? Because ma the beit shekain by a case of the beit. When he opened in Rishus Harabim, that was Shalei B'Rishus. He didn't get any permission from anybody. Tamer Bahana, you're going to say the case of the water, the B'Rishus, then he was Maitzi from his Rishus to Rishus Harabim. He got Rishus to do it from.
Who gave him Rishus?
The county, yeah. Or so the Gemara will say, Shar Yechiach. Shar will disprove that a person who goes, a share that goes in Rishus Harabim, with the Rishus Beis Din, if he damages his chayiv, malashir, and versus malashir came back to the lahazik again. Ber tichich and b'chazar din. So you're going to go in all those cases b'chazar din. Now Ravina says a fourth way. So again, we have Abaya, we have Rava, we have Rav Ada bar Ava, and now you have fourth Ravina. Ravina says like this. Ravina tells you that. Ravina tells you, Ravina says, it comes to include this, what the Mishnah said. What does this Mishnah say? If you have a wall or a tree that fell in the Rishus Harabim and it damaged somebody, it damaged either at the time that it fell, it hurt somebody, or afterwards it damaged somebody. So the halacha is pater milashalim. The owner is pater from paying. Why? Because it's honest. It's not his fault. And honest rachmana pater. Now, if the Beis Din, the Mishnah says over there, told the guy that you have 30 days to take it down, and the guy fifed on the Beis Din and then damaged, he'll be chayiv. Now, Nostal Izman, if they gave him 30 days, Lokas is ilan, to cut down the tree, and release their sakaislon to knock down the wall, and it fell in the midst of those 30 days, Potter is chayiv. However, Lachazman, chayiv. And Ravina is going to tell you, this is what we learned from the Tzad Hashava. So the Gemara says again, Heichi Dami, what exactly happened? If the person who owns the wall or owns the tree was mafkir this before it damaged, so then the question is, why do I need to have a tzad hashava? Bein the Rab, bein the Shmuel, this is mamish hainu ber, this is a tulda ber. Why? Because ma'ishna ber, by the case of ber, there has zeke matzi. By the case of ber, it's normal for the behemoths to get hurt over there. And ushmras and lechan. Hainami here also in the case of the wall and the trees has zekin matzin ushmras and lecha. Now, and either leafkirinu, if you were not mafkir, then the shmul amar kulam mibei lamadnu hainu ber. So if you realize every way that every amir that learns it, you have the same mamish, the same exact questions. So the Gemara repeats again. La'olam dafkirinu. And v'leidam the bar because malabar shekein tchilas asiyos lenezek. When a person builds a wall or builds a tree, you hope that it's not to hurt somebody, it's just there for the beauty. So he'll build it very strong. So the Gemara says, So the Gemara says, and v'chazar adin is just going to go in circles and circles. So therefore you need to have a tzad hashava. Now, no. After four times they gave up already. They gave up. We need the tzad hashava. Fine, weiter. The Mishnah said that when the owner or when there's damage, the tashlumi nezek, so the mazik, the one who owns the animal or whatever those items are, he has to pay b'meitav ha'aretz from the best of his land. And we're going to see exactly what meitav ha'aretz means. So the Gemara asks, chav hamazik, why using an expression that can we have to start thinking, what does chav hamazik mean? Chayev hamazik miboyle. It should have said that the person who made the mazik is chayev. So Rabbi Yehuda Marav, Hi Tana Yerushalmi. The Tana of our Mishnah is Yerushalmi. And the Tani Lishna Kalila. The Rishalmis, they speak very, very short, very abrupt. They don't like to use too many words. Straight to the point.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, the Rishalmis. So they used Chav instead of Chayiv and Mazik. Now, we learned in the Mishnah that when the Mazik damages, so he has to pay Tashlumi Nezik, he has to pay the damage with what? B'meita ba'aretz. Now, Tana Abba we learned, the Pasuk says, if you remember, the Pasuk says, we'll just recap, in Parshas Mishpatim, Ki Yaver Ish, when a person sends, Yaver Ish, when a person sends his animal and the damages, Sada Ikerem, and V'shilach Es Be'iroi, so we said over that means that the animal trampled and with it was regel, and ubir b'stei acher, or either with shein, or the halacha is meitav sadeh, meitav karma yishalim. Now, what does that mean? It means that the mazik has to pay meitav sadeh shel nizak, or meitav karma shel nizak. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. Now, the question is like this: when you say he has to pay meitav sadeh, the best of whose field? The best of the mazik, the one who damaged, or maybe the nizak. Now, it's a big nafkamina. What if? Exactly. What if? Yeah. Exactly. So the mazik, he's a wealthy, he's a poor guy, so he gets away with it. He says, "Oh yeah, I don't have much money. I'll give you the best of mine. The best of his is the worst for the nizik, or it could be vice versa." So what does that mean? So machlekes tanoim. Rabbi Shmuel will tell you that when the pasuk says, sorry. So again. Meitav Sadeh, Meitav Karma Yishalem, Meitav Sadeh Shal Nizak, Meitav Shal Karma Shal Nizak, Rabbi Shmuel. Now the Gemara understands that Rabbi Shmuel means to say that if, let's say, the Be'ema ate, let's say, a Aruga Kechusha, let's say a roe, but it's very, very lean, so you evaluate this Aruga, how much it's worth, etc., etc. You evaluate based on the Nizak, the one who got the damage. Now, Rabbi Kiva says no. Like Ba Kasav Ella, the pasuk is coming to tell me that Ligbis Lenizokim Menaidis, that he has to pay from the best of his, from the mazik. He has to the best of his. Now, and the Gemara and Rabbi Kiva says, "But Kal v'chemer lehekdish." This will be a Kal v'chemer from hekdish. That hekdish also you have to pay from the idis. And the Gemara is going to explain exactly what that means. Yeah, the Gemara will explain right there. Okay, so now the Gemara asks on Rabbi Shmuel. According to Rabbi Shmuel, who Rabbi Shmuel holds that you learn that you have to pay from the nizak. So now the question is like this: Ochel shmeina, mishal shmeina. I understand if the shur ate the best of the field, so he has to pay the best. Ochel shmeina, he has to pay the shmeina. Now ochel chusha, mishal shmeina, he eats something which is worth $20, and now he has to go pay. From the nizak, he has to go pay from the nizak's best. He has to pay much more. It doesn't make sense. So what are we dealing with there? And the mishalim shmeina. We don't know what he ate. Did he eat the kusha? Did he eat the shmeina? So Rabbi says. So one even more. Rabbi asks a shnaka shayla. If we know for sure he ate kusha, he has to only pay what he ate. So if you don't know what he ate, so if you don't know what he ate, why are you giving him? You're saying he has to pay the best, pay the worst. Now, rather he says, what are we dealing with over here? Machlekes between Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva is talking about a case that the mazik has karka, which is greater than the nizak. For example, the best part of the nizik is like the ziburius of the mazik. The mazik was lower, and the nizik, yeah. So the nizik's greatest land is like inferior for the gabi the mazik. And now this is the machlekes. The Torah says, "Meitav sadeh." The kavana is the sada of the nizik. So based on this thing, the mazik will have to pay the worst of his land because we go after the nizik. Akiva savar the mazik shaminan. Akiva says no. The Torah is focusing on the mazik. For the Gemara, my time in Rabbi Shmuel. What is the reason of Rabbi Shmuel? Why does Rabbi Shmuel hold meitav sadeh means that you look after the nizak? So the Gemara says Rabbi Shmuel learns from Exer Shava. Nemar sada lamata. It says sada. It says the word sada by tashlumi nezek meitav sadeyu. V'nemar sada lamayla. And it says in regards to writer, it says bia b'stei acher. So Masada Omer Lamata, just like over there means Nizek, it means that the field of the Nizek. Afsada Omer Lamata, so too means the Nizek. So from here to be Shmoler's Meit of Sadeo means the Nizek. According to Rabbi Akiva, what does he do with Meit of Sadeo? So Rabbi Gemara says Meit of Sadeo, Meit of Karma Yishalim means the Heichta Mishalim. How does he pay? In other words, the Mazik and the Kecha, the Gzera Shava does not come to just tell you Pashta Pshat of the Pasuk. How could Gzera Shava be Eiker, something from the Teda? So the Gemara says that the Gzera Shava, according to Rabbi Shmuel, is not being Eiker, the Mashmoas Aksav. Rather, Ahani Gzera Shava, Vahani Kra. You have a Pasuk and you have Gzera Shava. Ahani Gzera Shava, Keda Amris, you just said what the Gzera Shava is. Vahani Kra, Kegoin. And the pasuk you have, going to Islay the Mazik, for example, let's say the Mazik has two types of fields. He has an Idis field, Viziburius, and he has a good field and he has a Ziburius field. Idich the Nizik, and the Nizik has Karka, which is Idis, but it's not as great as the Idis of the Mazik. Now, and also Viziburius. The Mazik has two types of has two fields, Idis and Ziburis. The Nizik has Idis, but his Idis is not as great as the. It's not as good as the Mazik's Idis. The Nizik's.
No, but I'm saying, is it good?
We don't know about. We didn't mention the Ziburis. His
is not as good as the
correct. Now, ve Ziburis the Mazik le'shavik Idis the Nizik, but the Ziburis of the Mazik doesn't equal to the Idis of the Nizik. So it comes out that the Mazik does not have field which is equal to the greatest of the Nizik. So now like this, the halacha is like this. The Mishalim lay mimetiv didei. So he has to pay from the best of his. Why? The loy motzi amar lay, because the Mazik cannot tell the Nizik, ta'ad gabi miziburis. You go and collect from the Ziburis. Ella gabi mimetiv. Rather, you go from the best ones.
I
Okay, we'll stop here.
him make damage